So can you say your name first, please, for me?
Yeah, I'm Steph.
Second name, please.
Oh, Smith.
Thank you. And so, as you said, you do play rugby currently as well as being the medic. How has that helped you be able to decipher if you think someone has got a concussion or anything like that?
Okay, so grassroots-wise, you hear it a lot where people go, oh, just go and see the medic. She'll do a HIA on you. I can't do a HIA and then go, yes, please go back to the field of play. That's not something that I can do. However, I am highly trained. I've been trained through work and through affiliations with various clubs, and there are signs to look for. There will be confusion. I tend to find that those that have taken a knock to the head will be quite cross. They'll tell me there's nothing wrong. Sometimes they might stumble on words, sometimes they might not. And that's kind of the thing that my job to do is to watch the game and to watch as the hits go in. I can look at something and go, I saw your head hit the floor. Please come off. And I can look and I can assess. What I'm really assessing for is severity. So it might be a case of that we would have a conversation and you're absolutely fine. That's great. You're still going to be sat with me for a little bit.
Yeah.
The RFU have guidelines that they expect us to adhere to. There is a process that once somebody has sustained a head injury that they will need to follow. They will need to have time off, and then it is unfortunately not, I've had all this time off now, I can go to 80 minutes of rugby. No, you can't.
Yeah.
It will be a slow return, so you'll see them training. And I'll pop down to training, I'll watch, and then I'll ask some questions. Have you got any of your symptoms have come back? Have you got a headache? Do you feel sick? Do you feel dizzy? Most times it's a no. Sometimes it can be a yes. Myself and the other medics, we always, if there is a suspicion of a concussion or a headache or any type of injury that really that person shouldn't be alone, we will always refer them to the hospital. Because unfortunately, at sports therapy college, they do not give me the MRI eyes. I wish they did.
So you said obviously players will often have to have a slow return, can't just rush straight back in. How many weeks extra after their return do you often find it is till they get to do the full 80 minutes again?
It's very dependent on the person. It really is, and the level of concussion they have. So we have a returner within the current team who's returned from quite bad concussion. At the time, it was very, very clear that was the way that injury was going to go. Yeah. They were very unwell, they were very dizzy, they felt very sick, they were quite disorientated. So straight away it was taken away from the field of play, they were sat with us, they did attend the hospital later that evening. They had a CT scan, which is normal standard just to make sure there's no bleeds or anything that's sneaking in there. Thankfully they were okay, and the words of the doctors were, it's just a concussion, quite bad. So they had 3 weeks off, they did a training session, but all was fine. They played 20 minutes, and then today I think they played 60.
Yeah.
The position they played, I probably wouldn't expect them to play 80. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I would say so. It's probably been about 5 or 6 weeks since that initial hit.
Yeah. Okay. And then I've been asking the players this, and I always get a very different answer each time, so it's always been a fun one. So from your perspective, as both a coach, player and medic, would you say it's the backs or the forwards that are the most likely to end up with a concussion?
Oh, do you know what? I'm a back. I am a back that has also had quite a bad concussion. I want to say, so if I asked it from a medic point of view,
yeah,
I'm going to say it's the backs. Just because we do tackle, but actually we're really, really fast. So the really big hits tend to be forward on forward, or forward on back. But it tends to be forward on forward. So I would say probably see more forwards in my clinic than I have backs.
Yeah. Interesting.
What's everybody else saying?
It's very much dependent on which position they play. It's for the backs, they stay the backs, and for the forwards, they stay the forwards. So
Yeah, for my medic, I would say definitely forwards.
yeah.
Backs, we're just too good.
And you said you've had a concussion yourself. What do you almost remember when you had the concussion? How did it feel to begin with? How did the recovery take?
So, mine was quite a bad one. For me, I have no recollection of the 2 days before.
Yeah.
I've seen a video of the tackle, I don't remember it, and I don't remember 2 days afterwards. So I lost 5 days. And that was 3 years ago. Recovery time, that did end my season, so that was 9 months.
Wow.
But and this is the thing when players are like crying to me, Steph, I want to come back, is I always use that actually, if you take the time, I did what my doctors told me, I saw the physio, I built my strength back, I went to the gym, I did absolutely everything that I needed to do. And after that, I still played 2 years at NC1.
Yeah.
I still captain the team today. So actually, as awful as it was, and I'm very keen on the girls that I coach as well. They're very, very young. We know with the research where consecutive concussions and head injuries can go and what that can look like as we get older. But what I would say is, we can't always guarantee that a concussion won't happen. You know, we train and we coach. The guys here are very, very good, and we try and coach to get into the right position. We try and coach to take that tackle and to tuck the chin and to brace and things like that. But actually, sometimes it does just happen. But it doesn't necessarily mean it is the end of your career. I don't think. I think maybe I know of one player. And I've been involved in grassroots rugby for, I'd say, 15, 16 years now. I remember one player that they was told, that's you done. Everybody else that's come through, some have taken, some people have just done that picture perfect 4 weeks, then I'm back in. Some people like me have taken a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But we're okay.
Yeah. And then I also want to know, for you, how important do you see these new gum shields as being to help in, like say that they do get brought into grassroots rugby soon, how important do you see them being to help people like you be able to have an instant idea of what you think it could be?
They are amazing. I remember when the women's team first trialled them, it was the Roses Ferns game at Franklin's Gardens, and I remember reading about it. They were trying these new gum shields, and just how excited I was. And now it's rolled out more and more in the professional teams. Like, we've all seen it on the telly where we've seen a hit and we've all gone, that's big. And they've popped up and they're absolutely fine, and then 2 or 3 minutes later that player is called off because the medics have seen something in that gum shield. We know that potentially the first hit isn't the one that causes the concussion. We know it's probably the second or the third. So to be able to have that for, as I said, I don't have the MRI device, I can only make a judgment. Sometimes you can't see everything. It's not to recommend. You don't have cameras on every corner. But if I could have a gum shield that links to an app on my phone and says, this person has taken a hit that's larger than allowed, 100% that can help. I appreciate that for me, I am really, really lucky with the team that I have. They're very, very supportive. They very rarely argue with me when I go, no. Very rarely. Occasionally the ones that argue usually are the ones that have got the head injury, so I'm getting a little bit aggressive or a little bit upset. Who says you've got a head injury? But I am aware that other medics don't necessarily have that support and can feel pressured. But yeah, definitely if you've got an app and you can go, this says that this is a problem, then I think that's something you can do.
And then if in a game you have like more than one player that you think could, like say they've just had a possible head contact and you're questioning it, but then you have another player straight after, how difficult is that to kind of keep track of both players and make sure that if you think one of them is in serious effect, you're also keeping an eye on the other one at the same time?
I'm quite lucky I've got 2. I'm mentoring a guy at the moment, so I'm quite lucky I've got him. Usually if it's a head-on-head, my guy's coming off. I will always step in for the other team if they don't have a physio. More often than not, they'll turn up with one. That's kind of down to them. We can have a growing conversation where I go, my player's not so great, you might want to check on yours. But previously when I've had two, they've come off and we kind of just sit them in the technical box. We've always, if I haven't got somebody with me that can support, I can always call upon somebody that, like a spectator, and just say, look, I've just got to go over here. You just keep an eye, not feeling so great. So it's more that they don't have the knowledge that I do. Obviously, if someone passes out or if there's an issue, then they can raise their hand very quickly and I can stop what I'm doing.
How often do you feel like the players will actually admit to themselves as soon as they've seen it that they think they might have a concussion?
They are the monkeys. I think, as a player myself, no one wants to admit that they might have had contact. You know, you've played yourself, it's the adrenaline that goes with playing and that feeling of like you're there with your friends and you're trying to do the best you can. It is really disappointing to pick up an injury, but to pick up a head injury, I think they're the same as when they pick up ankle injuries or knee injuries or something that hurts and they know they have to come off.
Yeah.
They're exactly the same. It's definitely fine. I can walk it off and have some cold spray. So the head injury, absolutely fine. I can have some water.
Yeah.
And it's someone else. And I think as well because they know that potentially if you come off, that's you're not doing anything for 3 weeks. And like the initial treatment, not only are you not playing for 3 weeks or training for 3 weeks, first 48 hours you need to rest your brain. So that's no television, that's no reading books, that's not scrolling on your phone, that's not going to the pub. That's literally going to sleep for 48 hours. It's the same, it should be treated the same way as if you broke your leg. You wouldn't go and run a marathon with a broken leg. So why would you do the same thing with your brain?
Yeah, makes sense. And then I also wanted to ask, what do you have to look out for when you're on the side? Is it more you have to focus on tackles that you think might have been controversial? Or is it more often you see it as rucks and scrums are where you're finding your main focus has to be?
I would say I watch the whole game because tackles are obviously a thing. They can be too high, they can be a head-on-head, there can be head off the floor, head off the knee. These guys just hit their heads off everything. Again, scrummaging, you're looking at your front row, that doesn't mean to say your second row and things like that. Your flanker might come off and take someone out with their head. Rucking, again, can be. I have seen a clear out before where the person's just gone straight out and hit the head up, the back of the head on the floor. So it's a case of you have to watch every element.
Yeah.
I would love to just watch one, but these guys keep me on my toes.
Yeah. Well, that is absolutely amazing, thank you. That is